podcast. Welcome back. And our next guest, I figured out I speak to him every 17 and a half years. From DAD, Jesper Binzer. Jesper, how are you?
I'm a happy camper. I'm in Copenhagen and it's noon, and I think it's somewhere in the evening your place.
I'm in London, actually.
You're in London? Okay, great.
That's real perfect. Sunlight coming in through the window.
Exactly, that's real sunlight. No, I'm a happy camper. I'm going out after this interview. I'm going out to rehearse with the guys because we're gonna, build up the Australian set list, which will consist of a couple of more songs from the No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims album, just because.
Because it's a massive, massive album in Australia.
Yeah.
Last time, now I spoke to you, I'm old enough to have spoken to you in 1990 when you did the promotional tour, and I also spoke to you 10 years ago at Sweden Rock. And
oh yeah.
And at the second meeting, you said you couldn't talk much about the previous trip because it was too carnal, the first trip to Australia. You couldn't really talk about it much. So I wonder if now with the the benefit of time of a decade, you might be able to talk about the last one, 2022. What differences did you notice after whatever it was, 32 years away from Australia, 22
Well,
years?
first of all, there was still a lot of love. There was still a lot of fans, and there were even some new fans. It seems like the Australian fans is just nice and quiet and easy, just, checked out the latest releases. So we felt not just like a picture of the past, but we actually felt seen as entire human beings and with a long career, which was great because I don't know what we thought, but maybe we thought that they only knew about No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims, but they were so happy that we played some of the new songs. Okay, concerning the carnal part, this last time around, it was just old men with jet lag enjoying the Chinese food.
Have you had to think about per capita maybe, because Australia is not population-wise as big as America or even here in Britain. Per capita wise, what do you think your strongest markets are aside from your home market? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe that per capita, I'd say that it maybe would be either Portugal or Finland, because they're small countries, That, if I should answer truthfully, that's probably Portugal, because they're pretty wild about DAD, and it's a small country.
Yeah. But this is obviously the first time I've spoken to you since Speed of Darkness. I've missed about 5 albums since the last time I spoke to you. So yeah. Speed, obviously, like at the time, reading some interviews, it was kind of influenced somewhat by the war in Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East and stuff like that. When you listen to it now, when you play songs off it, do you feel, do your emotions about the state of the world, are they pretty much the same, or have they moved on? How, if you wrote that album now, how would your perspective be different?
Good question, my friend, because I'm out there now every day singing the songs in the rehearsal space. So I'd say that there's still this whole thing is still vibrant, and the emotions around these wars are still there in the same sense. But as you grow up, you know you need to take some kind of responsibility for everything you do. And I think that I would say that the thing is, suddenly you find out when you sing about a dictator, you use words that only you thought up. That means some of those words maybe are something you know about some of your friends or yourself or anything. So it's like it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing because singing about an idiot, suddenly you find out, okay, I'm singing about myself.
Like I know that, like, I mean, the Monsters of Rock cruise, I went on it this year and you're on it next year, and I'm kind of a bit worried about going through immigration next year. If things I've been saying on social media, you're an artist, you sing songs which DAD is not a political band, but certainly, especially on this album, there are political content. I mean, what do you think? Do you worry about going through customs in Miami and they say, hang on, what's this lyric about,
Exactly. I mean, I've posted stuff about Palestine in a grown-up way, but still, I mean, they could get me somewhere if they wanted to. Luckily, we're this old now that it's not like a career making thing if we're not allowed in anywhere. And I think we have to relax about it. And hopefully it's only 3.5 years and then it's over with all this. Maybe even over at your place, the Brexit will, implode as well. And things will be not like back to normal, but forward to a new normal.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So that's my thought about. I'm not afraid to be dismissed at the border in any DAD way. Going there on a holiday with your family, whoa! I mean, that would be a disaster. And it happened. It happens to people right now.
Yeah, it does. And you couldn't go on the last MOR because your father had died, right? So
exactly, we had to cancel, and that was great because he, of course, told us that no, please go, don't do anything for my sake, style. But if he died actually the day we went back to Miami airport and were supposed to board the plane. So we're happy that we canceled. We're happy that we finally learned about real values in life.
yeah. Now that's perfect segue to the next question, because I love this sort of protagonist that's been going through your music for 3 decades, who Grow or Pay, Last Time in Neverland, and I wondered, has he finally grown up with I'm Still Here? Is he is he finally grown up, this protagonist, or not?
I think it's a journey, and I think we just love to peel off the layers of the onions. I mean, it's just keep on finding out what's in there. The I'm Still Here song definitely is something. This is the first time that, I mean, we took, I don't know how to put it. Of course, we just acknowledged 40 years had passed with that song, and it's the only song on the album that acknowledges that time has passed. But it's also there's also some small gems of life hacks in there as well. And I mean, I've written 2 books, navel gazing, and I'm on that journey. I think it's important to find out who you are, to find out where the world is going, and I really love it. And I love the opportunity to be able to do it in rock lyrics as well.
Okay, I warned you, for the people listening, we're going to play a song, 3 songs during the course of our chat. What can we play first? I
think we should play the song that you made this album for me to start with. That was The Ghost. That was like the first song on this album. I said, whoa, now we're getting somewhere. So The Ghost, first of all.
Now, that, you know what? Straight out of this song, I was going to ask you about The Ghost. So let's ask you about that now, then, before we play it.
Okay.
Who was The Ghost? Whose memory are you putting an arm around?
Okay. The thing is, I've recently divorced. So going from what you could call it, like the Garden of Eden in a normal relationship, into street. I'm in the street now, and it's cold and it's raining. So suddenly you find out all those words on the internet, like ghosting, but also gaslighting and breadcrumbing and avoidant attachment. All those words I read like a poem that soothes my heart now, because I found out that, oh, whoa, being like dating on in the real world, whoa, that's a funny thing. So this is definitely a song about a girlfriend, totally intoxicated with her, but also she's slipping through my fingers. On top of that, I lost a good friend, and he was like some kind of shadow thing about around that as well. So he's also the ghost. So it's a thing about the term ghosting towards a girlfriend, and it's around a good friend of mine that I lost.
Well, welcome back. Second part of interview with Jesper Binzer from DAD. As we do this interview, he's off to Australia. If you could see what I can see, if you're listening, you can't, but it's wonderful. You're on the outskirts of Copenhagen, are you? Like there's like sun and water, and it's beautiful.
Oh yes, I moved on the 18th floor of a skyscraper by the beach. I'm a happy camper.
And you recently did like an anniversary show in Copenhagen, didn't you? So, which exactly. I would have loved to have gone to. So could you walk to that gig? Could you walk to your anniversary gig?
Definitely, I could have walked to the gig. The thing was that we wrapped up you know, I was because I was divorced. We wrapped up the whole house. The new owners was supposed to have the house the same day as we played that anniversary gig. So where I should have been walking with my hair flowing rock star style, I was actually driving a car filled up with the last thing that you take out of a house that you're leaving. So I was actually going to how do you say, the dung heap? What do you call it when you get rid of stuff?
Oh yeah, the rubbish tip.
Exactly. I was going. My car was filled up with stuff for the rubbish tip. That was my life right there. And then out playing Rockstar. That was 2024. What a year.
Now, no, I've got another question written down here. I've got my glasses off, so I can't read the question. But I was interested as someone who is kind of like, and I guess a lot of people experience it. They might be well known in their industry, in their office. They might be like a superstar, and when they get on the train, they're anonymous. For you, I imagine that anywhere you go in your home country, there's a fair chance you'll be recognised. Maybe not 100%, but in the course of a day, you might be recognised. What, 10 times, 12 times?
Definitely.
And then as soon as you leave, I guess that, or even when you go to Australia, people will recognize you walking to the show if you walk into the show. But so what's that like from an ego point of view, and just the way you interact with people, that maybe you are kind of second guessing someone when you walk into a room that they're going to talk to you about music, and then you come to England or you go to America or Australia, and that's not going to happen. Do you have to adjust, you know?
The thing, that's a very good question, because it really is a thing. So when I'm here, I'm really happy for people coming up and saying hello. I'm happy to accommodate, you know, with selfies and stuff like that. I'm on the television a lot in all kinds of ways. So I mean, I sleep in the bed I made myself. What do you call? Yeah, but so it's pretty. I'm totally fine with that. The funny thing is, when I go to countries where I'm not known, where I'm not a rock star, when I go like to a shop to buy bathing trunks or whatever, you know, the girl at the counter at one point, 5-10 minutes in, says, "Excuse me, sir, are you some kind of rock star?" That means I carry myself now as a rock star, and of which I'm very proud, because then I know that I've grown into it, and I am who I am now, and that's just perfect.
Until you cut your hair, right?
Exactly. No, you know what? You know what? The mustache has done devastating work for my because people can't recognize me. That's funny.
No. So the one more lyric question. I got some questions from readers, but one more lyric question is like, my favorite song on the album is "Automatic Survival," and the concept of a soul is brought up in 2 or 3 songs, and I just wondered what had prompted you to consider the concept of a soul and the eyes closed, and the kind of, I guess there's been kind of echoes of people as urban sheep in songwriting in the past. Well, but "Automatic Survival," you know, it's a dark song. What prompted it, you know?
Very good question. Of course, there's dystopia all over in, you know, on Netflix and everywhere. But what I'm referring to are the shifts in generations. There's a generation that fights for something, and then there's another generation that just succumbs into so that was the song. The first verse is about like a hippie couple that gets a child that can feel the anger and just goes out into the world. Why are people not angry with me? Kind of what's happening? They're just sheeps. That was like the first meaning of it. But the whole taste or picture or whatever, which we laughed about, or which we had a good time about in the band, was that we thought it was like an 80s version of the future. That was like the sonic view on that song. Let's make the 80s version of a future, which is something that we were brought up with, and now the distance is so far that we can actually laugh about it. How the first kind of dystopian movies that we encountered. So that was like the feeling of it, and the lyrics is, of course, the kind of, why are there not yellow vests? You know, there was in France. Why are not yellow vests all over the place?
Yeah. Are we the fighting generation, or are we the lazy generation? Yes,
I definitely say that we are I mean, we're the lazy generation in many ways, but I also think that that we need to be pragmatic. So it's not all laziness. We really need to be pragmatic, and I feel that in the young people, my son and his friends, they accept the changes. They accept that people are different, and they accept. And I think that the acceptance is not the same as being lazy. And I think that pragmatism is the way forward. You know, going out either too far left, too far right, of course, it doesn't really do anyone good. So I don't think we're more pragmatic. I hope we're more pragmatic, and I hope that the young generation accepts.
Okay, let's have another song, Jesper. What can we play now?
Well, let's do the automatic because I mean it's your favorite, and it's a song that we really like. We were little apprehensive about recording it because not totally a typical DAD song. Let's do it.
It's the Goosebumps song on this album, I think.
Oh, sweet of you. I'm gonna take that exact sentence out into the rehearsal space today.
Welcome back. Third part of it with Jesper Binzer from DAD. I don't think you've got a lot of time left up your sleeve, have you? Have you got a few minutes or?
Oh yeah, I've got definitely a few minutes for you. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Because we've got some readers' questions.
Yeah.
Where do you store the giant sofa? That's the right question.
See, we are on the third sofa now, and there's the real rights, the sofa that fits people is in a bar in Stockholm. That was the one used on the cover of Risk and All. Then we got two major sofas used as a drum riser. The first one was bought by an art dealer in the 90s.
AC/DC first show on the tour one day, and then you guys the next day. It was
exactly.
Hardcore.
That was a lovely rock weekend. Yeah.
Did you go to AC/DC?
No, not this time around, because we had to do that. They had to do the traveling, and we had to go because they were playing like a Monday after our Saturday. It would have been perfect, but we couldn't do it. I went and saw AC/DC in Stockholm Globen 5 years before that. And I enjoyed it. It was like, whoa, I just enjoyed it. The way that Brian Johnson dances like an old black lady, there's nothing that beats it.
Which reminds, actually, it ties into the next question.
Yeah.
Do you reflect on your influence you've had in Scandinavian rock and metal? And isn't it right that Metallica played "Sleeping My Day Away" as their kind
exactly.
of?
Yeah.
Wow! Yeah. Were you at the show?
No.
How did you hear about that?
We were in Norway playing another festival. Suddenly, everybody's iPhones lit up. It was like, "Whoa! What's happening? What's happening?" Anyway, I mean, that was a great honor. It really felt good. And I met. I was hanging out with Lars a year later, and it was like, that's something they do in every place. They do some kind of local cover thing, and of course they were laughing about it too, because it was not like a totally well-made cover. It was like more like a jam. But people, I mean, there were those 50,000 people at the Idræts Park, and they were just happy. In terms of us influencing, it has to be there. What I found out though is the Gothenburg metal community, everybody up there has got some kind of DAD tattoo or been fans or whatever. So in a funny little way, like bands like In Flames or Avatar, all those kind of bands, we have a little stock in that sense. We've definitely influenced the whole speed and what do you call, what are they? Is it black metal?
Power?
I don't know what. It's just even at least Gothenburg metal. We've been a big influence on that.
There's a song on the new Thunder Mother that's straight off one of your albums.
Yeah, that's right.
The other one is Chris Atkins says, "I want to come up on stage and play Bad Craziness with you," and he includes a link. So, so anyway, moving right along. In Sydney, if you see Chris, he'll be waving. He'll be in the front row. Okay, now I wanted to also just a couple of things that I can break out into separate pieces. And one thing is and we are, there's someone waiting on after me, so I don't want to keep you too long. But can you go in the sort of Reader's Digest version back to 1982 and remember the band being formed, the moment that DAD came into being in your mind? When did it begin to exist in your mind,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were talking about, me and Steve were talking about making a band, because he had been thrown out of his own band, and I was just trying to make something happening with my brother. And then there was like a free space in a heroin addict club where they were trying to get off heroin. So there was like a rehearsal space out there for free. So we went out there, and I was dragging along my Fender Super Reverb, which is very heavy, in the bus, public transportation to the other end of the city. And out there with these guys, hollow cheeks and pointy eyes, needle pen eyes, they opened up and let us use the equipment. And I think that's maybe one of the places that could say, okay, this can be something. We actually, we're making new songs every time we meet up. And then we played at a punk rock place where both Lords of the New Church, where we were supporting Lords of the New Church, and also Los Lobos. So that was like, that's very typical, the DAD influences in a funny way. That was like, and Gun Club, the Gun Club as well. So these three bands we supported in 83, actually, because Jacob joined in 84. So we were just a trio. It didn't sound good, but boy, did they have cheekbones.
Okay, and in the interview, like I ask every band from Scandinavia that I interview why the region is a sort of a sanctuary for rock, and you talk about Scandinavian melancholy, Scandinavian love of melody.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? It's just in the blood, Why do you think rock kind of flourishes in Scandinavia and when it dies elsewhere?
Yeah, it's really, really a good question. I think, of course, the melody part brings in all kinds of audiences, which is great. So I remember us playing songs when we were playing punk rock. It was a very small community. We had to branch out a little bit. We had to we need this. Okay, let's have a reggae song. These guys are happy over here. Let's have a blues song. Then these guys are happy over here. So it's like, because it's a smaller community, because the cultures are not that segregated, you try to mix in whatever, and there's no shame in putting in a little feel-good stuff as well. Also, we have this. It's a beauty. I have to say, no one's really poor here in that sense. It's not like you're about to die in the gutter. So there is some kind of surplus of energy, surplus of, I don't know. It's not just that we have to be subversive all the time. It's okay to just play music. I think maybe that's, and then smile doing it.
I think Australia is kind of like that too. It's not, there's not a lot of genres, you know what I mean? Like, it's just basically make the crowd shut up and watch you. Make a loud noise. Yeah, make the crowd shut up and watch you. I think I better let you go. I was going to ask you also, though, big issue at the moment is backing tapes. So I just wondered what your policy towards backing tapes is. Are you like this about it, or what are your thoughts?
But DAD, never. Even though none of the guys are very good background singers, never. But I've seen it in rock music, and I don't like it. I've seen it in all kinds of urban stuff, just people with a microphone and a backtrack, and I like that. I have nothing against that, but for DAD, never, and for rock and roll, I think it's I don't like it.
Okay, one.